வணக்கம் நேயர்களே, welcome back to another episode on Vadapochetamilpodcast. We are now available on most streaming platforms, which is Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or எந்த பாட்காஸ்ட் பிளாட்ஃபார்மில் நீங்கள் கேட்குறதா இருந்தாலும் நீங்கள் அதை கேட்டுக்கலாம்.
நம்மள சோஷியல் மீடியாவில் நீங்கள் ஃபைண்ட் பண்ணலாம் at Vadapochetamilpodcast, Instagram and TikTok. Leave us a comment, message அனுப்புங்க, ஏதாவது ஃபீட்பேக் இருந்தாலும் சொல்லுங்கள். We'll definitely reply to you guys. So please reach out to us and let's have a conversation going. Enjoy the show.
ஹாய்டா,
சாவடிக்காப்.
தாய்லாந்து வந்தியா இன்னைக்கு?
எஸ், அதான் ரொம்ப சூட்டோட வெளியே வெதர் இஸ் டேம் ஹாட்.
Yeah, it's really hot. People need to hydrate, honestly.
Drink prime.
இன்னைக்கு வந்து we have a special guest with us today. So welcome to the studio, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you both very much.
So Natalie வந்து she is a realtor and she has been in the industry for over 22 years.
Yes,
22 years.
thereabouts,
Okay.
yes.
So சொல்லுங்க உங்க journey பத்தி சொல்லுங்க and maybe you can go into the specific of what you do and how did you get into real estate? Yeah.
Honestly, real estate happened to be a leap of faith because
சரி.
அதுக்கு முன்னாடி I was in the media. So I was doing a lot of production videos and it so happened that the company that I was in was downsizing, so I just felt that I want to do something different. Try பண்ணேன் ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கு. It went on second year, third year, and then I realized I was really enjoying it. And it just happens to be all the way now.
So சில பேர் சொல்கிறாங்க real estate வந்து is it sort of an entrepreneurial journey or is it more of a corporate kind of thing for you?
Definitely not corporate. It is purely everything, me, myself and I.
Okay.
Yes, so you have to be your own boss, you have to be your own marketer, you have to be your own slave, everything, right? But the objective is to eventually protect the interests of the client and to serve the client's needs.
So நீங்கள் வந்து I would say you took this like entrepreneurial journey, right? But you converted or you started off with a production line, the media line, which is completely different to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's extremely vast. And also my media experience was also in the corporate world because I did public relations. But enna எனக்கு வந்து அந்த bridge வந்துச்சுன்னா it's about meeting people. So I really enjoy meeting people and I have an edge on that with the communication skills. So that got me a step forward, which I could interact effectively, and the interpersonal communication also helps to understand the people's needs, to convey the message properly, which are all the soft skills required to succeed in this industry. So you can see sometimes with realtors, when you speak to them, some are so pushy, aggressive, you get put off. But when you realize that, this person, right, cares for you and is not there with an agenda, then people let their guard down. Not that we want to do it intentionally to them, but that's how we are naturally, right? You want to be a friend first.
Correct.
Then after that you want to help them, and then eventually it happens to be a transaction. But the idea is not a transaction immediately. So for me, I liked developing relationships, and that's how it has brought me this far, and I'm very, very thankful.
So and the key point on the making them comfortable and having the relationship rather than just seeing it as a transaction.
The
trust
relationship
is
is a priority. The trust is definitely a must, but of course trust takes time then.
Yeah.
So to make that person comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, to make the person comfortable and feel you. And in order to make them feel you, you first must do it very genuinely. Honestly, to even realize this in me, it took me many years. Yeah, because we're all stressed in the initial first year. I have to try to at least attain that income that I was achieving in the corporate world, or to at least feel good that okay, I'm self-employed, I'm earning much more than the corporate world. If not, I can just go back to a 9-to-5 job, right? Yeah.
So எத்தனை வருஷம் மீடியா லைன்ல அந்த PR லைன்ல இருந்தீங்க?
So media and PR was a good 5 to 7 years.
So I mean, a good 5 to 7 years is like not a small
It's
number.
not a small number.
It's a major chunk of your career.
It's a good part of life, but that made my skin thick to go out there to meet people. But of course, it was also overcoming the fear of okay, now I don't have a CPF contribution and I need to have a family. And also, there's always parents who are caring for you, right? So out of love, my parents will always say, why don't you go back to the corporate world? After all, படிச்சிருக்கியே, you got the experience, right? போயேன் இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸா இருக்கு because எப்ப அந்த அடுத்த டீல் வரும்னு தெரியாது. And இந்த commission எவ்வளவு நாளுக்கு தாங்கன்னு தெரியாது. So sometimes it's a good month, sometimes it's a no month, sometimes it's a low month, right? So இதெல்லாம் my mom will observe and she will notice, of course, the initial stress which I would outwardly display as a young one, as a newbie in the industry. And of course, you get very, very challenging clients. Some clients are just pure drop down God clients, So observing and me sharing all these experiences with her made her feel that you really don't deserve this, just a consistent income with a fixed number of hours, knowing that your weekends do not require you to burn your time as well, and at least you be with us for family time, was something that she was hoping to get. But I'm just glad I managed to get across that.
So, under 5-7 years PR learning, there was there a spark to say like, okay, maybe I want to do real estate, like, because I suppose this is like in the 2000s, am I right to say that?
Yes, so it was in 2006, right? That's when I decided to make the leap. Honestly, there was no spark.
Okay.
But I do have a soft spot for homes. So I grew up always liking to see beautiful homes because my mom is a proud homemaker. So like everything everywhere suttabathama irukano, every house you go to is something that I will always admire. So because I love seeing homes and admiring homes and watching programs that had beautiful homes, I had a certain affinity to homes, right?
Sorry, okay.
But those are like nice, beautiful homes in the US and Australia. Singapore homes are very, very different. Nature, like window thorna mountain irko. So Singapore homes are different. So it took me a while to realize the purpose in it. But I've got to say that I'm glad. And truth to be told, they always say when you're self-employed, the first 3 years will be the toughest years. So I had that in my mind, whether it's property or insurance, of course, I was also approached for insurance. Like, நீங்க ஏன் insurance try பண்ண மாட்டீங்க? It's not as challenging as property because insurance is more consistent. People pay you the premiums monthly. You get, it's a different concept altogether. Property, you sell it at one go, that's it, then done and dusted, right?
And technically, insurance has lesser age limit. Housing
so it's totally different.
It's totally
two
completely
total different products, but still self-employed. So then I asked myself, ஆமால நான் இது செய்யும் போது நான் ஏன் இன்சூரன்ஸ் செய்ய மாட்டேங்கிறேன்? But I realized that the desire was just different. Over here, you're selling policies. I mean, I really admire people in the insurance selling policies because they're looking out for our own protection. But I felt a home is our sense of comfort. Everyone needs a roof above their head. Right? And that's your sense of identity in Singapore, sense of security even. So adillame vaarkai illaye. So I thought, let's go to that. And what kept me going was I just felt that நம்மளுடைய இன மக்களுக்கு வந்து the agent, the professional agent still needs to be there. So I kept working towards that journey. Of course, the initial part was a lot of mixed races that I was meeting. Then I realized that I personally felt the burning desire to want to be, I won't say an icon, but to be there for our Indian community, for our Makkals. Because I have yet to see that professional realtor.
Okay.
At that time, the industry was very easy. You didn't need a license. So everyone could be an agent. So it was very challenging even amongst agents when we were like co-broking, they call it. So even when trying to close deals, you don't sense that professionalism, especially coming from the corporate background. And then you're meeting someone from the non-corporate background. It's just so
different,
bizarre. So you're just wondering, but then we're all working towards one goal to help secure that home for that person. So that agent could be selling or buying or vice versa. But that professionalism wasn't there. It was just known that, professionalism is only known to be in the corporate world. Then slowly, somehow, the industry landscape changed with the licensing. So all those who could not get their license started dropping out. Then the trend started where the graduates were coming into the industry, bankers were coming into the industry. So professionalism started becoming a norm.
It started getting over, I think.
Yes, it started becoming like it was a norm already. And the attitude of agents were a lot different. Then I realized, okay, so now we are seeing some fresh air. So just kept going, and it was a lot more easier that way.
நீங்கள் சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க இப்போ I think early in the podcast self entrepreneurship நீங்கள் நுழையும் போது first 3 years வந்து is going to be the most difficult years of your life. எனக்கு என்கிட்ட சில ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் இருக்காங்க, no not you, சொல்லியிருக்காங்க, ஓகே மச்சி ரியல் எஸ்டேட்குள்ளே போகலாம், பார்ட்டாமே போகலாம், if I just sell one house I'm covered. I'm done. அவன் சொல்லும்போது it sound like you're making very easy to you making it sound very easy. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is the actual challenge of like being a realtor in today's market?
What's the actual challenge in being a realtor in today's market? To be honest, is whether you can sustain.
Right.
Sustainability is crucial to be a good realtor. And that sustainability only happens if you have the passion. Any job for that matter, may it be even a teacher, right? The turnover rate is so high because they claim it to be so stressful because students nowadays are so challenging. Same thing. If you come into the industry thinking that you can make a quick buck, I can guarantee you, because I've seen it myself, you will not last. Because there's a certain part in you that can only last for so long. Only a certain level of patience we all have. And then you realize that, you know what, I'm not cut out for it. I've heard it, I've seen it with people. Then of course there are the ones that they have had their good days. So they pretty much know that, okay, maybe I just want to be in it for this time to earn this X amount and then I'm done. So maybe that's what they have in mind. Can't fault them. But for me, I know that this is what I enjoy doing. I like helping people, and yes, it gives me a consistent income for me to provide my family. So I keep going.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a crypto investment kind of thing. Like, hey, I bought this coin now.
Done.
It's gonna
I'm a millionaire.
yeah.
And it coincides with your point. Ninga sonningala, like, you know, they come in with that mindset that, okay, earn பண்ணிட்டாங்க, I'm done.
Yes.
But then it's the same thing. It doesn't work that way. I think this is like, it works for every industry. If you plan to sustain, sustainability is the key. You need to have a plan to sustain in any industry.
Right. True.
What were the early challenges you faced in this industry?
Oh, the early challenges, because I entered in my mid-20s. My mid-20s, around there, before I was 30 for sure. And at that time, now no video vaangla, right? Okay. So I was single at that time. So appa I was learning the ropes. So of course people judge you. நீ ஒன்றும் வீடு வாங்கலையே, அப்புறம் நீ ஏன் லாவா பேசுற, right? Yeah. And also you don't have a family, so what do you know about moving homes? So I had to break that
stereotype,
to break that thought. So that's when I realized, if you don't have the experience, you harness your skills.
Okay.
Right, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Not every agent has an experience. So I developed the hunger. You got to be hungry in order to be there for a lot of families. So I developed that. I tried to increase my marketing. I was, if there were no people to meet, I was going out physically to just put flyers in the mailboxes. So amma appa la nalla wedding ku povanga.
Way before social media.
Oh yes. Amma appa la nalla wedding ku போகும்போது they will, நீ வரலையா? No mommy, I've got to go and put flyers. So she'll give me the look like, சொன்னேன்ல இந்த வேலை வேண்டும், you know, தேவையா உனக்கு, you know, that kind of thing. But I'm like, no, I've worked so hard, I'm not quitting. But then of course when I'm putting the flyers, I'm like, she told me how you know. But I'm just glad that perseverance in me kept me going. Then every home that I would sometimes mailboxes are not easy to put because the flap is locked, right?
Right.
And then your fingers will be aching because no matter how much you squeeze and push, you can't push in the fly. So I'm like, done with mailboxes, let the fingers have a rest. Then I'll go door to door in the name of exercising also.
Yeah.
Lah. So I'll go door to door. Then I'll be like, I wish I can sell this home. Wow, this house looks very nice. I wish I could walk in. So all this just kept me going. And somehow with the law of the universe, I just felt that if you plant your seeds somewhere, somehow
You'll
the
get the
efforts
fruits.
are reaped. Yeah.
Correct.
So it just naturally happened month by month, year by year, and it just kept me going.
So would you say in the industry வந்து majorly வந்து it's a male dominated industry?
Not really. I would say it's a male dominated industry, but as an Indian female, there are always challenges. Because again, people judge you.
Correct.
Right? And I'm just glad that the community is changing, the mindset of the community, and generally people are becoming open-minded and modern. But initially, a lot of judgment. Amma, nee vandu, how long are you going to be in the industry? I can guarantee you won't last. So if you are just a newbie, they wouldn't trust you because I don't think she's going to last. So idukitta na veeda koduthu enna panna, that kind of thing. So of course, I told myself to not focus on your social circle and your family, but to approach total strangers. So that's when you're never judged.
Even judge panalo, I think they'll forget the next 2 minutes later after the meeting.
They wouldn't know you,
They
right?
won't know you,
They
yeah.
don't know you personally, so they don't judge you.
Correct.
And they are not going to ask you how long you're in the industry because for them is, are they able to connect with you?
Right.
But the people who are closest to you are the ones who judge you more. So I had to learn to accept that in a very hard way. And through time, then when people realize that, oh, she's still in it. Oh, she's still in it. Okay, and she's showing results. And then, yes, I see her advertisement. Oh, yes, I hear her and I see her awards. Okay, then the referral starts creeping in.
It's all like the external validation.
Then the challenge is when your closest ones give you referrals, then you realize you've
That's
got an
when you almost-
expectation
Yeah,
to
correct,
meet.
correct.
So it becomes like, it's more stressful because you've got to make sure you get the job done so well that they are happy to have given you that referral. So I took it upon. Then it just kept going. So then, of course, over the years of experience and developing myself internally as well, I tell myself, just be myself. So it was about learning how to just be yourself. And then you realize things just flow and not to fake it.
ஸோ நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு இது மென்ஷன் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தீங்க முதல்ல இந்த ஃபேமிலியோட சப்போர்ட் they were doubtful இது பண்ண முடியுமா and all that. And how did you overcome that challenge?
So that trust in family still is being developed, to be honest. It's still a daily challenge to get that trust. And I've learned to understand why. Because some people fear that when they know you very well or when you're very close to them, they fear that you know their private life. And people don't like people to know their private life. They rather have a stranger know their private life because it's okay, the stranger will not judge them, or they don't care if the stranger judges them. But if they know that the closest person knows, then they get very uncomfortable. So I got to understand this thought was when it was told to me that, Natalie, I do know you know a lot of our mutual friends. So I hope you keep this to yourself. So I'm like, oh, okay. Then I naturally tell them, I said, but it's something that I will definitely respect your privacy. It's not me to go around telling ABC everyone's problems because then it's never ending, right? So that's not my job. And I then I had to tell him or her that you can be assured that it's not my personality to share private matters because that's how it is.
Correct.
Right? Sheer respect. So rest assured that whatever you've shared will be kept with full secrecy and privacy, and the objective is this, which is to move homes, to upgrade, migrate, downgrade, whichever, or whatever change you're having in your life will be respected, and we will work according to your needs. So it's only upon these assurances that's constantly being given, then they start putting their guard down, and they start trusting you. And when the job is done successfully and hassle-free, then slowly word of mouth gets around. Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of time.
Right. And you've been in the industry for 22 years, right? அந்த 22 வருஷத்துல வந்து ஐ மீன் இப்போ உள்ள காலகட்டத்தில் வந்து 2 வருஷத்துலேயே ஜாப் ஆப் பண்ணுறாங்க நிறைய பேர், right? It's quite rare to find anybody in a job for more than 5 years, in my opinion.
I realize that now in the young community.
I mean, there are perks to it.
Yes, it's different. It's a different trend.
Yeah, but then to be in the industry for 22 years is... And it's just an achievement. It's a big achievement.
People can even say boring.
No.
I mean,
it depends on industry.
Yeah.
To me, if you're making the money, then it doesn't matter if it's boring. But அந்த 22 வருஷத்துல வந்து ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு தருணம் இருந்துச்சா, இல்லை நான் வேற எது பார்க்கலாம்?
Of course. Truth to be told, the thought always creeps in. And also it's like, நான் இதே செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு இருக்கேனே, can I try something else? Owner business தொடக்கலாமா? You know what, from the earnings that have come in, to be different, like இதே இருக்கேன், அரைச்ச மாவே அரைச்சிக்கிட்டே இருக்கேன், you know, and the feeling sometimes தோணும். My big why is actually my son. He is special needs. So when he was born, he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. So from the time he was born till the age 3, of course, it was a journey to identify what exactly was his condition. And then I conceived my second child, like when he was already 18 months, I had my second child. So it was just a non-stop journey of parenting at that point in time. The challenge of understanding his behavior condition, trying to process how to even raise him, and to identify what would be the suitable therapies for him at that point in time, because we're all just new in parenting, trying to just get the hang of it. And then you have this condition to deal with. So it was a huge shocker in my life, and to even accept it was very difficult. Then I realized I need a job that's flexible, because that flexibility is required to bring him for his treatments, therapies. So my second home was obviously the hospital, the doctors, the nurses. And then I would be revolving around him, so my appointments were all revolving around him. So Arya, my son, is my big why. Then as to whether it's going to be real estate or not, was also something along the way I realized that it is something still very close to my heart. Homes are always close to my heart. Of course, people buy homes for investment with the thought of wanting to make money, grow their money. Fine, fair enough. But it all still comes down to a property. And because I've already established, I mean, thanks to all the support of clients that I've received, and praise the Lord. But with the number of clients built, I just felt that there was no turning back. It was not for the clients, but for my hard work that I just couldn't accept to just put it away and to do something different. So that's when I realized that this job is something that I am doing with a purpose and with a huge passion. Then I told myself, I want to do more for the community, not just, auntie, uncle, can I sell and buy your house or rent your house? It was more of, what can I do further to help you understand the nuances of the industry? What our community needs to know before they own a home. What our community needs to know to prepare themselves to own a home. What our people need to know before they retire. What our people need to know when a family member passes on. What they need to know when their marriage fails. So then I realized there's so much of I don't know. Then I felt this is where I've come in to add value based on all the experience I've gathered. Every client I meet, is a learning experience for me as a person. So I'm actually very thankful to that person to have shared their journey with me. It could be 3 months, 6 months, or sometimes even a year buying and selling, you know. So I treat that person really as a client that who's only uplifting me, and in return, my assistance is rendered to them to move their homes.
So, you mentioned your son and his condition. For you to deal with that, you need an extra amount of patience. How has that amount of patience like carried over to your line of work when dealing with other clients?
I would say I thank him each and every day because there is no limit to the amount of patience required. Autism is a huge spectrum. Just when you think that you kind of have identified the remedy to X behavior changes, and then you realize there is no answer to that new behavior, and you need to go through that behavior to process it. So, which you're right, helps me a lot in my line, because you never know which client will flip or what situations will change.
அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு condition இருக்கும். We never know, right? Yeah.
I don't know, but condition எல்லாருக்கும் இருக்கும், எனக்கும் இருக்கும், right? So therefore, I've started to do it with a heart.
Okay.
And I've told myself, do it as my duty with no expectations. I mean, the amount of disappointments or rejections or even joys that have come out of it is something that I've learned to accept.
Okay, you just spoke about your personal side of the story. So, moving on to potential buyers, potential sellers. அவங்களுக்கு compared to maybe 20 years ago, இந்த காலகட்டத்தில் வந்து அவங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் knowledge கொஞ்சம் அதிகமாக இருக்கும் because of social media, internet, whatever it is. How different is it to deal with clients today versus 20 when you first started out? When you in terms of the knowledge, maybe they have more knowledge now.
Oh yeah, a lot of sellers and buyers are very savvy these days. Even before I meet them, I already know whether they know X amount of things. So this is where we have to know how much of a value we can add to them, because honestly, everyone can sell and buy their own home.
Okay.
But there's an X factor that's required in that process. And that's when a realtor comes in on a professional basis with experience, who's able to help them identify the blind spots. I can't literally list out the blind spots because it differs to every transaction or case. But it is the knowledge that's required. How do you even identify the value of your home? Google பண்ணி பார்த்தாக்கா, you have got like your apps, right?
ஒரு estimate இருக்கும், correct.
HDB website.
Yeah, so it's like my house, my neighbor has sold for X amount. My this has only appeared X amount. But not to realize that X amount was already a transacted deal.
Right.
So whether you can fetch a higher price for your home is something that's where your agent comes in to advise you. So for all you know, you can shortchange yourself by doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Or if not, you could be overpricing it, not knowing what is the market condition, because that X house sold for X price could have something, a premium factor that your home doesn't have. Then you get frustrated as to ஏன் வர மாட்டேங்குது offers, or ஆளுங்க பார்த்துட்டு போறாங்க but ஒன்னும் சொல்ல மாட்டேங்கறாங்க. So that's where you need that experienced realtor to come in to help you realize why. ஏன்னா நம்ம வந்து நம்மளோட வீட்ல இருக்கும்போது we forget what it takes for a buyer to notice in your house, because we're so comfortable in it. Like போற MRT வந்து உங்களுக்கு noisy-ஆ படாது, but for you it's like நம்ம MRT station பக்கத்துல இருக்கோம். But for that buyer would be like, this is noise. You see, because we are immune to it. So this is where I have to share to them, my clients, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And this is where we come in to overcome a particular challenge. So for example, தெரியாம ஒரு வீடு வந்து you've bought at a second floor facing a multi-purpose hall. It's a bit
okay, yeah.
You don't know what. ஏன்னா சாவி கொடுத்திருக்காங்க like 5 years ago, and then when you go and like facing a multi-purpose hall, what do I do? Because the multi-purpose hall can be used for celebrations or for vice versa.
Yeah.
So then how are you going to market it yourself? right? So this is where a realtor comes in, a professional one who's able to condition the buyers before they even walk in. So they don't know all this, right? So these are the little things that a realtor is able to add value. So same thing for buying as well. I've got a lot of buyers who will tell me, Nat, I'm of this age, I want to buy a maisonette.
Okay.
Right? Because my parents live in a maisonette. So I'm like, okay, do you know how much a maisonette costs? Yeah, 800, 900. Okay, very good. You know it costs 800, 900. But have you done your loan check? Oh, must I do my loan check? So I said, why have you not done? Oh, I don't know. I want to go and view first. வீடு பார்த்தா தானே நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும். அப்பதான் நம்ம புக் பண்ணலாம்ல. I said, நீங்க வந்து லோன் செக் பண்ணாம அப்புறம் எப்படி புக் பண்ண போறீங்க? So they don't know that because they have not been guided accordingly. So these are the differences a realtor makes.
Is it easier now or was it easier back then in terms of
it's different. There's no easy or hard. The landscape is different. In fact, I actually prefer it now because buyers are savvy. Like I just met a millennial couple last night buying their matrimonial home. So we secured it within a month. They knew what they want. Those days they had the common thought that ஒரு 20-30 வீடு பார்த்தாதான் அந்த வீடு கிடைக்கும். Whereas now it's like cut to the chase. I don't want to view 5 houses. I'm just show me 3 houses and I'll be able to make a decision now. Isn't that easier?
Yeah.
But there comes its challenges as well because the 3 houses are in prime areas and the prices are also of premium price, right? So this is where you have to ensure that your buyer is not overpaying, or then do they have to pay cash over valuation? Are their grants sufficient? Do they even know how to know how much of grants they are taking? Because sometimes a document can be very, very, what do you call it? Very general. Or sometimes they don't even know that they can get extra grants because it's actually written there, but they don't know how to read it.
Right.
So these are the differences today.
Let's do this. Any good stories? Like this is like the good case study or a good scenario. Then the funny ones, and then the horror stories.
I think let's start with the horror stories.
Yeah.